Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. And I thought we'd start off today's episode by getting some of the good news out of the way, a whole bunch of games that you can currently get with massive discounts, starting with the Crysis Remastered trilogy. Everybody knows Crysis, of course. First released in 2007, yep, it's nearly a 20-year-old game, and it still looks gorgeous. But that was kind of the whole thing with Crysis, wasn't it? It was so amazingly graphically intensive that even the strongest PCs at the time just couldn't run it at maximum graphics settings and get more than 15 frames per second out of it. It spawned a whole bunch of "but can it run" Crysis memes that still exist in one way or another today. Well, if you're not old enough to remember playing the original Crysis, then you too can experience what it was like to have a computer game bringing your PC to its knees, because you can get the Crysis Remastered trilogy for less than $20 on Steam at the moment. It's currently on sale, all three of them. PC Gamer gave the original Crysis all the way back in 2007 a 98% review score, with the sequel, Crysis 2, getting 89%, and the next sequel, Crysis 3, getting 81%. All three were astonishingly good games. There was a slight fall-off in quality. I mean, the original was so revolutionary and groundbreaking, but even the third one, while it wasn't as good as the previous two, it was still pretty good. Even if most people did need to upgrade their PCs in order to play it on anything higher than medium settings with more than 12 frames per second. But you too can now experience what that was like, because these are, of course, the remastered versions of Crysis 1, 2 and 3. And all three come with a new graphics mode. It's called Can It Run Crysis? When you turn it on, you get ray tracing, post-processing, etc., etc., etc. But even if you're playing the game on their lowest graphics settings, they're still visually improved over the originals. And you can get all three, the entire trilogy, for less than $20 on Steam. But if you don't want to get all three, although, I mean, less than $20 for the entire trilogy is a pretty good deal, but even if you don't want to get all three, you can pick up any one of them also with this discount. And obviously, if you're not buying all three, it'll cost you even less. The sale's running on Steam until April the 3rd. While on the subject of games currently available for huge discounts, not to be outdone by the Steam Spring Sale, the Epic Games Store is also offering a huge bunch of titles with massive discounts, beginning with, and ironically enough, since we're already on the subject of games that appear to be designed to bring your PC to its knees, Alan Wake 2 Deluxe Edition, currently 50% off on the Epic Games Store. There's an even bigger discount available for the Outlast Trials, which was you've probably heard of Outlast. It's a psychological horror game, as was its sequel, Outlast 2. I actually tried playing Outlast, and it was very, very good, but it was way too scary for me. Yeah, I know, big surprise. Well, the Outlast Trials is a sort of prequel to Outlast and Outlast 2. It's also a psychological horror, but you can play it in co-op, so, drag some friends into therapy with you. And you can flick this upon yourself and a friend at a 60% discount, currently, also on the Epic Games Store. Next up, I think I actually mentioned this last week, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, 50% off. You know a game's in trouble when it's barely been out a month and they're already offering it at half price, but well, whatever. There it is, it's available, 50% discount. While we're on the subject of co-op games, It Takes Two is currently available at a 70% discount. This was surprisingly, because I do like co-op games, a game that I'd never actually heard of until, well, I don't want to say the sequel, but the next game from the same studio, called Split Fiction, just came out on Steam and is getting rave reviews. The developers seem to specialise in making co-op titles. And the cool thing about these games, both Split Fiction, which is the new one, and It Takes Two, which is the one that's currently on sale on the Epic Games Store for a 70% discount, is that they're co-op games, but only one person actually needs to own it, because the developers have this thing called a friend pass system, where you buy the game, and then you give whoever you want to play it with a friend pass, and then they can play it with you in co-op for free. Which is such a cool idea that it could only possibly have come from an indie developer. But anyway, It Takes Two, the original of the two games, currently at a 70% discount on the Epic Games Store. Next up, a game that needs absolutely no introduction or description, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. 80% discount. If you haven't played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt yet, there is now literally no excuse not to, at 80% off. Next up, Pacific Drive. I've actually covered this one. Very enjoyable survival driving game. I've got a whole video series on it, which did surprisingly well. And you can experience it yourself now, and it wasn't that expensive to begin with because it was an indie title, but it's currently on sale on the Epic Games Store at a 40% discount. Finally, a game that I've never heard of, but which PC Gamer describes as a sort of lurid alien isolation set in a randomly generated Italian mountain town. Yeah, I know, what the hell. And you can pick up Saturnalia also at an 80% discount. And of course, Epic are also keeping up their habit of just giving stuff away giving stuff away for free. English is hard. With two cat-themed games, cartoony cat-themed games that I have absolutely never heard of, Cat Quest and Nico Ghost Jump. Never heard of them, but they're both completely free, so all it's going to cost you is a download. Next up, something that I thought was kind of amusing. I read recently that over 60% of Call of Duty players reported for cheating. And I need to make sure you understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying 60% of players cheating. I'm saying 60% of players reported for cheating, which is not the same thing, are all on console. Meanwhile, the actual data indicates that nearly 100% of people who are actually cheating while playing Call of Duty are all on PC. Now, this data leads me to two fairly inescapable conclusions. One, PC players are all cheating scumbags. But more importantly, console players are whiny crybabies. I mean, it happens on PC as well, obviously. I mean, I've lost track of the number of times I've been watching a World of Warships battle, whether that be actually playing it myself or watching a replay. Somebody gets comprehensively outplayed and they immediately start crying in chat saying that they're going to report you for hacking. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment in an online game, isn't it? When you played so well that the person you've just owned says that they're going to report you for hacking. But according to the data, it happens way, way more often on console than it does on PC. So much so that Call of Duty Warzone's kill cam has just been adjusted, or is in the process of being adjusted, to tell players exactly how many ways they got screwed. For example, it will now show you the list of attackers who dealt damage, showing their username, the weapon they were using, the damage that they did, and the number of hits that they inflicted on you. It will show that you were affected by a live ping if the enemy had pinged you via line of sight. Rather than using a wall hack, it will tell you if you were affected by a UAV, and the player controlling the UAV had pinged you from the air and wasn't actually using a wall hack. It will tell you if you were affected by an unsuppressed weapon, because you were firing an unsuppressed weapon, which revealed your location on the minimap to nearby enemies, none of whom were actually using wall hacks. So this enhanced kill cam is coming to Call of Duty Warzone in the next season, which apparently starts on the 3rd of April, and the developers hope that it will reduce the accusations of cheating from all of those whiny console crybabies. I remain unconvinced, however, because the thing about whiny crybabies is that they're whiny crybabies. I mean, sure, some of the time, if somebody's whining and crying at you for cheating, maybe they actually think that you were cheating. And maybe this new kill cam will actually help address that and lead to a, I can't believe I'm saying this with a straight face, lead to a less toxic online gaming environment. Hey, you never know, it might happen. I mean, occasionally when somebody gets comprehensively schooled and outplayed, instead of just immediately throwing all of their toys out of the pram and having a hissy fit, they say, "Well played, good sir." I mean, it does happen, just not very often. And the kind of the person who is going to, compliment you on basically outplaying them doesn't need to look at the evidence in the kill cam anyway. So, kudos to the developers for putting this in, but honestly, I don't think it's going to make a huge bunch of difference, because most of the accusations of cheating in online gaming come from I just got owned, I can't possibly admit that you're a better player than me, you must be a cheater, reported. But you never know. I mean, maybe the whiny console crybabies will actually stop and pay attention to the evidence in the new kill cam, and stop throwing accusations of cheating around. Unless they're on a cross-play server and they're playing against PC players who apparently, according to the evidence, are all cheating scumbags, in which case, whatever. Anyway, moving on. So, if you've been spending any length of time on YouTube or browsing gaming websites over the course of the last week, you can't help but have seen all of the scaremongering, clickbait, YouTube video thumbnails and news headlines saying that this is it, it's over for Ubisoft. This changes everything. Side note, if you want to 100% absolutely guarantee that I add your YouTube channel to my list of blocked channels that I never see recommendations from, just include the phrase, "this changes everything," anywhere in the title of a YouTube video, or put it on your thumbnail. Okay? Good, thank you. Because we all know that whatever it is you're talking about, you're full of shit, you're just fishing for views, it's pure clickbait, and whatever it is that you are talking about, I will guarantee probably is going to change very, very little. But anyway, moving on. So what's the big deal with Ubisoft? What's everybody crying about now? What have Ubisoft done this time? Is this another "oh Ubisoft" moment? Well, no, actually it isn't. So, this is Rumour Control. Here are the facts. Ubisoft just announced that they are splitting off part of the company to form a subsidiary company that will focus solely on producing Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Rainbow Six games. The rest of Ubisoft will continue developing and supporting games like The Division, Rayman, anything that's a Ubisoft title and isn't Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, or Rainbow Six. They've done this with a cash injection of $1.25 billion from Tencent in exchange for a 25% share in the new subsidiary company. So that's a minority share, it's a non-controlling share, which means, and this was a major sticking point when Tencent first made their move to get control of Ubisoft, it means that the clutch of arseholes in charge of Ubisoft, who have been responsible for every bad decision and cock-up that Ubisoft have made over the course of the last 10, well, not just 10 years, but increasingly over the last 10 years. Things like telling us that Skull and Bones was the world's first quadruple A video title, and they certainly charged a quadruple A video price for it, while the game itself ended up being a limp-dicked, weak-ass, cut-down, bargain-budget version of a far superior Assassin's Creed Black Flag, just without all the good bits. Things like telling us that we had to be comfortable with not owning our games. I mean, we've been here before. The list of Ubisoft's cock-ups goes on and on and on. And unfortunately, as far as we, the gamers, are concerned, the arseholes responsible for all of these massive cock-ups are still calling the shots at Ubisoft, despite the $1.25 billion cash injection from Tencent. And honestly, I don't know if Tencent actually taken over would be a good thing, but either way, they're not. The Guillemot family, or however the hell you pronounce their names, they're still in charge. They're the ones responsible for every bad decision Ubisoft's made. They're still making all of the decisions. So, same shit, different day as far as Ubisoft's concerned. This will change absolutely nothing. The same arseholes responsible for every bad decision Ubisoft has ever made are still making the decisions, and now they don't have to worry about losing the company because Tencent just handed them $1.25 billion. So there's absolutely no incentive for them to do anything better. Business as usual at Ubisoft. In fact, the only thing that is likely to change is that when employees move from Ubisoft to whatever the name of this Ubisoft subsidiary is going to be, a whole bunch of them are probably going to lose their jobs. Finally, some non-gaming related news. Some very, very non-gaming related news. This is to do with my new house. Well, it's not really new. It's been around a lot longer than I have. And I've been living here 3 years now. Wow, time flies. The thing is, when I moved in, I noticed that there was a hairline crack in one of the tiles in the ensuite bathroom in my bedroom. And I didn't think too much of it, but over time, that crack got a lot worse. And it's because of the underlying flaw underneath the crack. It either wasn't laid correctly or it wasn't sealed correctly. Water's gotten in there, it's started to rot, uneven surface, and so the tiles are cracking. So basically, the floor needs to be replaced. So I thought, oh, this is going to be expensive. And I got somebody in to take a look at it, a flooring specialist, and they said, yeah, I can get this done for £590. And I thought, wow, I thought this was going to cost me thousands. So yeah, that's great. The only issue is he's a flooring specialist, he's not a plumber, and before he can actually get to the floor, the toilet and the sink need to be removed. So I've been trying to contact plumbers, and I don't know what it is. Maybe they're all just really, really busy. But so far, I've had real problems trying to get any of them to respond to my emails. But that's a different story. Anyway, the issue here is I was thinking maybe I just have the bathroom completely redone. I mean, it's only an ensuite bathroom. It's a shower pod, a toilet, and a sink. It's not an actual proper bathroom. There's no bath in there or anything. I mean, how expensive can it be, right? If it's going to cost me just slightly less than $600 to get the whole floor done, it's going to be more expensive to get the whole bathroom done, but I don't have to worry about, contracting a floorer and a separate plumber and so on and so on. I can just get one company to do the whole thing. Plus, my friend Eddie, when I lived with him, when he was still alive, about 7 years ago, he had his whole bathroom done, and it was a proper bathroom, not just an ensuite bathroom and shower. It had a bath, it had a shower, it had the whole thing. It was about 2 to 3 times the size of my ensuite bathroom, and this was 7 years ago, that cost him slightly more than £5,000. And I've got some money saved up. I can afford that. Maybe it's a good idea. So I'll have a look see. So I've got a company in, I won't name them, to do the measurements and have a look and see what needed doing and give me a quote. Bear in mind, we're not talking about an actual full-size bathroom here. It's literally just a shower, a toilet, and a sink. There's no bath. It's less than half the size of the work that Eddie had done 7 years ago that they charged. And it was the same company who did it for Eddie, by the way. And 7 years ago, they charged him £5,000 for a much, much bigger job. They wanted £11,000. Fuck that. What the hell? What is going on with prices? That is ridiculous. That's more than twice the price for half the work. In the space of 7 years, prices have rose that much. I saw this video on YouTube a couple of weeks ago of this American guy who was looking at online ordering his groceries. And obviously this was something that took off massively during COVID. And for one reason or another, the supermarket that he ordered his groceries from, you can reorder previous orders. And the order history went all the way back to COVID. And just out of idle curiosity, he thought, how much would it cost if I was to reorder this grocery order that I made during COVID that cost me $100? And so he hit reorder all, and it was $400 for the same stuff from the same supermarket that had cost him $100 4 years ago. Holy shit. I guarantee you our wages haven't gone up by the same amount. We're all screwed, aren't we? And on that positive note, that's it for this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles. I hope it hasn't scared you too much. And as always, take care. And I'll catch you next time.